So first we have this multiple choice with one correct answer. The author's stance on the possibility of life on Mars can best be described as, and so we need to identify the stance or attitude of the writer towards, this idea, the possibility of life on Mars. We must select an adjective that identifies best the attitude of the author, the writer of the passage. How can we tell his attitude? Well, from the selection of words, the word choice that he makes to express certain things. Okay, so please engage in reading, and then you can analyze this first question. So by now you must have probably finished reading this short passage, right? So what is the passage about? The passage is concerned with the possibility of life on Mars. And the passage details the various discoveries, right, that have been made over centuries, I think, on planet Mars. And so we could say that the best way to describe this passage is that the passage is factual, it contains facts, and unbiased. Okay, it's not like showing that it wants to favor certain positions or others. Okay, so when you consider a tone or attitude question like this, look for examples in which the author's opinion is revealed. You should also remember, right, to be careful of extreme words in the answer choices. Okay, so let's consider the different adjectives in the choices. Well, there is no expression in the passage itself that shows that the writer of the passage is either optimistic or pessimistic about the possibility of life on Mars. So we can cross out this, because there's nothing in the passage that reveals such tone. What about the last, for example? Cynical looks like a very extreme word, in this case. Besides, we commented that the passage seems or sounds rather objective, subjective in tone or the attitude, and so couldn't be characterized as cynical. So what about the second? Well, disinterested might, look like a negative word. And probably you realize that the passage doesn't have a negative tone. So you might feel tempted to cross out the second choice, as well. But be careful, because disinterested doesn't always mean indifferent. Okay? Something important is that several adjectives of common use in English have a primary meaning sometimes that not everybody uses, in common speech. The primary meaning of disinterested is impartial or neutral. Okay, so don't cross out this word so fast. This is the basic meaning of disinterested. And so we might say this accurately describes the tone of this argument. But let's go over the other two. Skeptical. Well, there is no indication that the author of the passage is skeptical, because the passage simply puts forth some facts and doesn't offer an opinion one way or the other. So to say that it's skeptical, we can cross out this choice. What about simplistic? Well, something we can appreciate in the passage is that this author considers several different factors in the determination of life on Mars. So the attitude of this writer couldn't appropriately be described as simplistic. Probably if he had only considered one factor, maybe, but he considered several different factors, okay, regarding the determination of life on Mars. So nothing further from simplistic. So that leaves us with what? A choice that didn't seem appropriate in the first place. But that because most people give the basic idea that disinterested means indifferent. But no, disinterest has a primary meaning, and that is impartial or neutral, which the article actually is. That's the best choice in this case. Okay, so beware of such terms that might have a meaning that you don't know perhaps, or you don't remember. So here it helps a lot to go through what they call the process of elimination. You need to evaluate. If you're not sure about one word, then go through the others, because maybe there are good reasons to discard the other ones. Okay? Probably that word you don't know completely might be the correct choice, such as in this case. Brenda, you have a question, please.
Excuse me, can you repeat why skeptical is not the answer? It's not the answer?
because there is no indication that the author of the passage is skeptical. How do you support the word skeptical? Skeptical is synonym with doubtful, right? So is there any expression in the passage that shows that this writer doesn't think like possible that life in Mars is discovered? He simply doesn't give any opinions. He reports facts.
Okay, so he only, the passage only give us a statement, so it's like kind of neutral.
Yes, neutral. Yes, because it only forwards to the reader what can be considered factual statements. He's enumerating findings, over the years, ever since humans were able to send, these probes, like Mariner 4, etc., and the idea is that he's simply reporting that. He's not judging the findings as good or bad, or promising, or like disengaging. No, he's simply reporting those. If he, for example, included some claim like, I think it's very difficult that we can find life on Mars in view of the findings so far, okay, you could say that perhaps he's skeptical or doubtful. But there's no such expression, in this paragraph or set of paragraphs. He simply reports situations, findings, actions that have been taken in the exploration of the planet. Now, what about the last statement? These findings substantially bolster claims that there was once life on Mars. Does this mean that this writer has, reservations or doubts? No, because bolster simply means boost or reinforce. So, his objective commentary is that apparently there is sufficient evidence to believe that sometime in the past, life existed. So he simply forms, an opinion on, the distant past. He never reveals, what his opinion is on about the present, So since we are asked about the opinion of the writer on the possibility of life, if he said something like, we hope that future findings can reveal that perhaps in Mars, there is a number of bacteria or microbes that could possibly develop because of the presence of water, blah, blah, blah. Okay, maybe he's showing some interest, some positivity about, that possibility of life, but he never does that. So disinterested is the best, word describing the attitude. Not because he's indifferent, but because he doesn't take, a position in favor or against finding life on Mars.